I'm Spencer Murray alongside the incredibly talented Julia Gintoff, and today we're bringing you another episode of our new UConn Women's Basketball show, The Road to 12. Julia, our Huskies were in Atlantis over the holiday, but let me ask you, what does Coach Gino Auriemma have to be thankful about after the way those girls played against South Carolina?
You know, we saw a lot at the Battle for Atlantis. Minnesota, we handled them pretty easily. Kristen Williams got that 30-piece, and I'm just happy for her because sometimes I feel like she doesn't get that recognition with Paige in the spotlight.
Anytime Kristen succeeds, we're happy.
We're big Kristen fans over here, for sure. USF, they played us a little too close for comfort. I was a little concerned during that game that we wouldn't win it, but AZ Fudd really took the reins. That was her breakout performance, 18 points, so great. And then obviously South Carolina, 1 versus 2 matchup, less than great, but it's good to get games like that out of the way, Spencer.
Exactly what I was going to say, Julia. I'm grateful that we played these games early. We learn from them. We move on. Better than happening later on in the season. But let me ask you, AZ Fudd goes from 18 points to 0. What's happening? What's the inconsistency going on with this Huskies team?
It's exactly that. Inconsistency, early season mistakes. We've talked about depth with this UConn squad in the preseason. All of their recruits, how high is their ceiling? And right now, transfer Dorka Juhas, AZ, who's been on and off, hot and cold. Gino really hasn't tapped into the bench that much, to be honest, but it's still a question mark as to how good we really are because we don't know with this bench that we have. AZ, obviously, that breakout performance against USF. I have hope for her. Number one recruit. I think that some games she'll be better than Paige. Her three-point shot, I feel like, is better than Paige already. So I have hope for AZ. As far as Dorka goes, though, I've been looking for her to pick it up all season, and I haven't seen that in really any of these games.
We talked about AZ, freshman, obviously, 0 points, only 10 minutes of game time. Mm-hmm. Dorka, 2 points in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Not just that, but the turnovers as well. If you're a 6'5" big coming in, you're looking to go against the toughest competition, the Aaliyah Bostons, the big forwards. You're expected to play at that level, and I haven't seen that yet. So I was surprised that Dorka got as much playing time as she did with the turnovers that she had in comparison to Aaliyah especially.
We talked about it before the show started. The Huskies got cold in that second half. Mm-hmm. Specifically, they got cold in the fourth quarter, only putting up 3 points that entire time. You can't have that much pressure on your guards because the seconds they go cold, that's when you need a big bucket from your forwards and your bigs. And as you said, I expect Coach Auriemma to really, really drill that in ahead of this matchup Friday with Seton Hall and obviously ahead of this matchup with Notre Dame. But Julia, right now, the Huskies are currently tied with NC State, the second best ranking in the country. And Notre Dame just found their way into the AP poll at number 24 this week.
Yes, head coach Niele Ivey is now taking the reins. My freshman year, which was 2 years ago, we took on Notre Dame, and we beat them pretty comfortably. It was Muffet McGraw's last year. And
Niele Ivey, she has a son that plays a little bit of basketball,
right?
Oh,
yes. Purdue point guard Jaden Ivey, he's pretty insane. They just beat Villanova pretty handily, and Villanova's great. As we all know, Villanova's great.
Niele herself, a hell of a basketball player. I guess it just runs in the family.
All-American point guard. She even beat UConn a few times. So
don't remind me.
Gotta give her the credit.
So a player that I've been looking out for on this Notre Dame team is Stanford transfer Maya Dodson.
6'3" forward. She's currently ranked 8th in the country in block shots. She's right behind Aaliyah Boston, so we might see a similar play there. So hopefully UConn can get it together in order to get that going. Looking at some key plays for the Huskies. First up, lockdown defense against Notre Dame's forwards. Against South Carolina, we saw it. Aaliyah Boston really took control and took over the game. We can't have that happen this time. Notre Dame has a pretty balanced scoring effort. Maddie Westfeld currently averaging 15 a game. Maya Dodson, as we said, averaging 12. If we can keep both of those guys under 10, really protect the paint, unlike we did in South Carolina, I think we can take this one. Second up, a strong bench performance. I want to see Gino tap into that bench. We haven't seen a ton of it. Caroline Ducharme, we have AZ Fudd, we have Dorka Juhas. We have a pretty solid starting five, but we've seen that once we get into foul trouble, it gets tough. We start to fall apart. Paige ideally shouldn't have to be playing 40 minutes. She's getting gassed. So who can we call on? And I feel like this is a really competitive game to test that out. Lastly, I want to push the pace. To be honest, we looked out-hustled by South Carolina. I want those transition buckets. I want a strong defensive rebounding effort. Eliminate those second chance opportunities, and getting the ball down the floor will lead us to a win. It's as simple as that.
I agree, Julia. Nicely done. I personally am a little worried about freshman standout Olivia Miles. Notre Dame is one of those teams that has it all, kind of the way the Huskies do. They have the veterans, they have the young talent.
They're returning most of their starters as well.
Yep, and this is, going to be a real test. You've said it yourself. They kind of play next man up. Any girl can get hot any given night. Freshman stand. We just talked about Olivia Miles. She was their leading scorer the other night.
Yep.
So this is going to be a real test for these Huskies.
Yep.
And it's a pretty balanced team the same way, we are and we're used to.
Make sure to catch UConn versus Notre Dame at Gampel or on FS1 at 12 on Sunday. Follow us on social media at UCTV Sports because we'll be there and we'll have live updates throughout the game. Also, make sure to subscribe here at UCTV Channel 14 as we'll be hashing out, breaking down the most highly contested matchups of the UConn women's basketball season right here on the road to 12.
Seton Hall Friday, too. Big East, first game of the season. We didn't talk about it too much because we're not too worried about it, but let me tell you, Big East matchups are important, and Seton Hall, although slightly lackluster, still an important game.
Right, you never know. You really never know. For Spencer Murray and the rest of our crew here at UCTV, I'm Julia Gintoff. We'll see you next week.